Oh, do you guys want to say hi to YouTube? I always like I never have a what is it? I never have like chat with me usually for these videos, but you say hi to YouTube. Hi. Yeah, we're gonna watch Elden Lore together. It's by VaatiVidya. And I'm watching this after beating the main game, so it's quite an exciting day. A lot of Elden Lore just went over my head, so hopefully it's gonna teach us, and then I'll be all knowledgeable, and then we can hop into the DLC and have a lot of fun and a lot of sweats and a lot of tears. Yeah.
Our story doesn't begin in the lands between. It begins in the cosmos, far away, with an outer god called the Greater Will.
Wait, isn't like Radon also the Galaxy Boy? I wonder if it's related.
There are a lot of outer gods mentioned in Elden Ring. You can think of these kind of like the Great Ones of Bloodborne. They're distant beings, they're all-powerful, and they're quite unknowable by design. But many of these outer gods want to make their presence felt in the world. The Greater Will, maybe most of all. To this end, it sent a golden star hurtling towards the lands between. The Elden Star's incantation tells us that this golden star was bearing a beast, an Elden beast. The Elden Remembrance calls it a vassal beast of the Great.
You know, this kind of makes a lot of sense because when I was fighting the Elden beast at the end, I felt like it was kind of random, like a random beast, that like a random, just like a blobby I was fighting at the end of the game. But this kind of brings it back to the beginning, like brings the ending back to the beginning, kind of makes it feel like it's more relevant.
Greater Will. If you didn't know, a vassal is someone who holds land on behalf of their overlord. Obviously, this is fitting in this case, because the Elden Beast occupied the lands between on behalf of the Greater Will, and was a living incarnation of the concept of order. As such, this beast would later become the Elden Ring. The Elden Ring itself is made up of runes of power, some great, some small, that together represent a sort of logic for the world to follow. Thus, the Elden Ring represents order. The true nature of this order is a subject of constant debate and research undergone by fundamentalists. But two of the key fundamentals are the laws of causality and regression. You can think of the law of causality as cause and effect, where actions have consequences, and those consequences are new.
Wait, hold on, it went away. I was laughing because of the guy, the way he fell to the sea. He just fell straight back, like, and then he, like, in a T. Look at that guy, how he falls
actions
back.
Have consequences, and those consequences are new causes that branch out into infinity. These are the relationships between things. Then there's the law of regression that states that all things eternally yearn to converge and return to their roots. Fittingly, then, the Elden Ring is housed within the Erd Tree, which towers over the lands between. But it's very important to stress that life in the lands between did not begin with the Erd Tree, the Elden Ring, or the Elden Beast. No, the lands between were occupied well before the Greater Will came. There were other beings here. There were other factions here. There were other gods here. And there was even another great tree here before the Erd Tree.
Wait, I thought that was gonna be the DLC tree.
This is where a huge twist regarding the Erd Tree.
No, loading. My computer internet can't handle this.
Comes in. So, there are incantations in the game called Aspects of the Crucible. According to their descriptions, these are manifestations of the Erd Tree's primal vital energies. And I quote, "They are an aspect of the primordial crucible where all life was once blended together." But how could all life be blended together in the Erd Tree if the Erd Tree appeared after life existed? Well, there can only be one answer, right? That the Erd Tree is a parasite, and it took over a tree that existed here before. This
DLC
tree was called the Great Tree. So the Great Tree was almost certainly the location of this primordial crucible, and it must have been a very powerful primordial force for the Greater Will to have commandeered. It might even be the reason the Lands Between is important to the Greater Will in the first place. It also explains why spells and enemies related to the Great Tree's crucible would eventually be looked down upon. For example, the Knot Talisman is fashioned from a knotted vestige of the crucible, and it was considered a signifier of the divine in ancient times, but is now increasingly disdained as an impurity as civilization has advanced. Enemies related to the crucible are the Omen, the Misbegotten, and the Crucible Knights, and all three of them would be shunned, enslaved, or imprisoned. Those who speak for the Erd Tree don't want you to know its roots, so to speak. According to the spell, Protection of the Erd Tree, in the beginning everything was in opposition to the Erd Tree, but through countless victories in war, it became the embodiment of order.
In Marika's own words, the Erd Tree governs all. The choice is thine. Become one with the order, or divest thyself of it, to wallow at the fringes, a powerless upstart.
But the Greater Will needed more than a big
Kind of creepy. That's where you fought Syria and... Yeah, I remember. I recall that place.
tree. It needed loyal agents in the Lands Between. To this end, it has the Two Fingers, who are its envoys. The Two Fingers heirloom has a weird picture of them, but it reads, "Of course, fingers cannot speak, yet these are eloquent. Persistently they wriggle, spelling out mysteries in the air. Thus did we gain the words of our faith." These words are interpreted by the finger readers. These are the undying old crones that you would have found throughout the Lands Between. They pass down the wisdom of the Two Fingers, or at least they used to.
Your fingers, please, your fingers. I can read them.
Most of them appear to have lost their purpose, and they're desperate to read your fingers and tell you annoying riddles, since their two fingers are likely dead. And yes, of course, there are multiple sets of Two Fingers. You would have found their corpses on the tops of the divine towers. Atop these towers, you loot the fingers in order to activate the true power of a great rune. Specifically though, you are giving benediction back to your great rune. You're taking a blessing back from the two dead fingers, essentially. This is just one of many blessings that the Two Fingers can bestow, and my point is kind of that the Two Fingers clearly have more than just influence. They have
I didn't realize the thing behind Ronnie's also fingers. I thought, I was like, is that a dragon that I slayed earlier?
real power on some level. The Greater Will needs
Buffer.
these powerful envoys and agents because, while it's obviously incredibly powerful, it does seem limited by a few things. First is space. The Greater Will didn't come to the Lands Between itself, it sent an Elden beast to do its bidding instead. Second is time. There is a moment later in the game where your pair of Two Fingers go still because they're forced to commune with the Greater Will for guidance.
I never saw it like that. When did the fingers stand up that straight? In the round table, I guess I didn't check it, or I didn't pay attention to it. After defeating Margot before going into the mountaintops. Oh, I missed it then. Oh, did the fingers stay like that for the rest of the game? I just didn't pay attention then. I'm gonna go take a look at that later.
They are finished. The fingers will again offer their guidance. But thousands, if not tens of thousands, of moons must first pass. No matter for me. But you, how will you ever manage to wait?
So the Greater Will needs a physical manifestation of order. It needs envoys to convey its will, but what it also needs is a god. Introducing Marika the Eternal. I have this utterly enormous mind map of Elden Ring's lore, and there's a reason she's at the center.
No!
She's essentially the equivalent of
too
Gwyn
much.
from Dark Souls, except unlike Gwyn, Marika didn't just crawl out of the dark and find power. To an extent, it seems like she earned it. We don't know much about her origins, except that she is of the Numen race, which is actually an origin that you can choose in the character selection screen. Numen come from outside the Lands Between, and are supposed descendants of denizens of another world, long-lived but seldom born. At some point,
Nice
Marika
dress.
was chosen as an Empyrean. What is an Empyrean? Well, an
That's
Empyrean
right.
is a being chosen by the fingers as a candidate for godhood. As an Empyrean, Marika received the aid of a shadow to do her bidding.
So I thought that Empyrean is almost like a royalty line. But I guess if going by that definition, the person doesn't have to be like a royal descendant. They just gotta get chosen by the two fingers, whatever that is. That's why he's still making videos. Yeah, understandable. The tree that's bigger than the Earth tree.
So what is a shadow? Well, it's a wolf, shadowbound to its Empyrean by the two fingers. Lunar Princess Rani is another
That's why she
example of an
has
Empyrean
blood.
with a shadowbound beast. You would have met Blythe. These creatures are the Empyrean's very own shadow. They
get a
are
pet.
completely loyal to their needs and, by definition, incapable of treachery. Marika's shadow was a beast called Malakath. Every Empyrean uses their shadow in different ways, but Marika's sole
That
need of
makes
her shadow
sense.
was as a vessel.
They all had a puppy. Empyrean, I believe, are chosen by the outer gods. Oh.
To lock away destined death. So what is destined death? Well, according to Enya, it's the
an
rune
awful
of death.
effect.
The rune of death goes by two names. The other is destined death.
We mentioned earlier that the Elden Ring is made up of runes, and at some point, maybe when she was chosen as a god, Marika plucked the rune of death from the Elden Ring. She gave the rune of death to Malakath, her totally loyal shadow, who bore a black blade imbued with this rune. It's kind of genius, really. In a single act, she removed the concept of death from the lands between, while also commanding total control of death through her shadow, who could deliver it at
Wait, so isn't that so cruel? So she took the death. I don't know if I'm understanding this correctly. She took the death, destined death, and she gave it to her dog, who cannot betray her. And he has to carry it, and I don't imagine that to be like a pain-free thing to be carrying with you at all times. Malakath basically functions as her executioner if need be. It's a pain-free thing, but come with responsibilities. Gotcha. Okay.
total control of death through her shadow, who could deliver it at her whim.
Because he would never
Now,
betrayed her.
some of you might be asking, if death is removed from the lands between, how come I can kill this dog? First off, shame on you.
Shame
Second,
on you,
from a lore
yes,
point of view,
sir.
that dog isn't really dead. It's simply in the process of its spirit, or its soul, returning to the Erd Tree. Catacomb dungeons, for example, are specifically constructed near the roots of the Great Tree for this reason, so that the Erd Tree can reabsorb their ashes back into it.
So don't feel bad about killing in this game. How dare, yeah.
This process replaced the concept of a death that you were destined to have. But this random spirit outside of a catacomb dungeon says it best.
Wait, hold on, ghost. A proper death means returning to the Erd Tree. Have patience until the time comes and the roots call to you.
As another example of this theory, when you kill a major boss, you receive a remembrance of them. These are
True. I'm sorry about the buffering. I think it's because I'm watching this while streaming, so it's extra on my
spirits,
internet.
and they are hewn into the Erd Tree. In this way, thanks to the Erd Tree's grace, their spirits are immortalized, in a sense. This new form of death also explains what's happening when you summon spirits.
From ash and return to the Erd Tree.
However, some spirits never return to the Erd Tree, and they rise within death as corpses or skeletons instead.
Maybe it's because they come back too fast. Unthinkable, our hallowed resting place is violated. To refuse the Erd Tree is called to return to live within death. Sickening.
So this was the new order. And it's important to stress that it was in this moment, when the rune of death was removed, when destined death was taken, this is when order became the Golden Order.
The forbidden shadow plucked from the Golden Order upon its creation.
Specifically, this was Marika's Golden Order. So not only did she become a god and a vessel for the Elden Ring, she became renowned as Marika the Eternal for her removal of destined death. It was a huge part of her character and her reign as well. However, Marika had more than just death to conquer. She had wars to fight, as the world was occupied by many forces that could threaten her Golden Order. There was war with the Storm Lord, who likely ruled over Stormvale, and there was a war with the Giants, who were masters of a flame that could burn the Erd Tree. There was war with the Ancient Dragons, who incidentally had stones that could twist time and thus slay a god.
It's so cool.
And finally, there was war brewing with the Carrion Royalty, who had previously obeyed laws which contravened the Golden Order.
The Carrion Royalty is basically Rena, right? And like, Marika stole Rena's husbando, right? If I'm not wrong. Carrion Royalty is a Renala's line. Oh wait. I thought Ronnie's mom was Rena. Is it Renala? Okay.
Thus, sort of similar to how the Greater Will needed an Empyrean to enforce its will, Marika herself needed someone to wage war. So, there was to be a husband, a consort, an Elden Lord. The man chosen was Hoarah, a ferocious warrior.
This guy. Okay, so wait. But this is not Renala's husbando, is it?
Who became known as the Lord of the Battlefield. His crown was warranted with strength, and while it was for this strength that Marika married him, he was also required to take a vow.
It was. That makes so much sense though, because I remember, like, he was supposed to be like red. Like, I think he was described as like red or something, but like he is red, covered in blood, red. No? Godfrey Horlo never had anything to. No? Okay, I'm getting lost now. Renala was together with Radagon. Okay, maybe that's where the red came into my mind, because it's literally red, the gon. Yeah, the names are so confusing, but we'll get it.
To conduct himself as a lord, to suppress the ceaseless lust for battle that raged within, Hoarah took the beast regent Sarosh upon his back. You'll notice this is another example of a beast being given for the purpose of serving order. Thus, in this moment, he went from being Hoarah, warrior, to Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, consort to Queen Marika, and a certified demigod. Godfrey and Marika had 3 demigod children together. There was Godwyn the Golden, who you saw being killed in the opening trailer, and there were also the reviled Omen twins, Morgoth, who guards the Erd Tree, and Mohg, who became Lord of Blood.
No way. That's how the tree works? Marika and Horalo had 3 kids together. And it's the golden. I don't know if did I ever meet him. And the second one is Margie. And the third is this guy. Neil. It's a Godwyn the Golden. Is this the guy that oh no, my computer. Is this the guy that I fought like right before the Elden Beast? He kind of looks like him.
3 demigod children together.
Is he not? Godwyn was the trailer, you never fought him. Okay, so we never fought him. He just like kind of remind me of the guy that I fought right before the Elden Beast, so I thought maybe that was him. Is that big thing behind Via on the underground? There was a big thing behind the Via in the underground? Guess I didn't notice it. The giant fish looking thing. Oh, okay. And then there are 2 other children.
Morgoth, who guards the Erd Tree, and Mohg, who became Lord of Blood. You might think that Godric was another demigod child, but he actually wasn't. Instead, he was probably descended from Godwyn. Anyway, we'll talk about the demigods more in detail in another video, so...
Godwyn? Like Godwyn Golden, right? The guy behind Fia, But we didn't meet. If he's a descendant though, wouldn't he at least somewhat be part? He's part of the family somehow still.
Subscribe for that. But for now, just know that Godfrey and his offspring were the first demigods, henceforth known as the Golden Lineage. In his wars, Godfrey led his 16 Crucible Knights into battle, who were named so for they fought with the primordial powers of the Erd Tree. Their incantations were aspects of the Crucible itself, and they likely fought giants, dragons, the Stormlord, and more to usher in their age, the age of the Erd Tree.
In Marika's own words, "Hark, brave warriors. Hark, my Lord Godfrey. We commend your deeds. Guidance hath delivered ye through each ordeal to the place ye stand. Put the giants to the sword and confine the flame atop the mount. Let it..."
Because that's a threat to the Erd Tree, probably. He's a distant grandson of Godfrey Gata.
"A new epoch begin.
Epoch.
An epoch glistening
That's
with
a funny
life.
word.
Brandish the Elden ring for the age of the Erd Tree."
The Erd Tree would go on to be largely seen as a blessing for all of those in the lands between, especially those close to it in Leyndell, the
It's
capital.
so shiny. Epoch. Ah! Exactly. Epoch. Internet pod.
City of the Erd Tree. The tree bestowed blessings. For example, the dew that dropped from its branches were like
Yeah.
jewels. It loomed overhead as a constant reminder of order
It
and
gives you like abilities, talismans, tears, shiny tree. Yeah.
its roots reached far and wide, relieving many of the burden of death. In fact, Erd Tree burial was one of the highest honors a hero could receive. One by one, the previous factions of the world fell. The giants were put to the sword, and their fell god was killed by Marika herself. The ancient dragons broke down the walls of Leyndell, but met fierce retaliation. However, I think the House of the Erd Tree encountered the most trouble against the land to their southwest, Leonia. Here, the House of the Moon repelled their offensives time and time again, and I mean that literally because there was not just one but two wars fought here, and in both of these, there was no victory for the Golden nor for the Moon. And I suspect it was probably because of these lobsters. These damn things can snipe you from like a mile away, and
They just don't want like people fighting. The lobsters, they're peacemakers. They're trying to stop these stupid fights between the moon and the Marika descendants. Honestly, I blame the husbando. If he didn't make the family tree so complicated, there wouldn't be these wars. Peacekeeper lobster, it has changed my perspective on the lobsters. I used to hate them, but I kind of feel like I respect them now.
it's bullshit. Actually, it was probably because of the Carrier Knights, who, according to their weapons, were able to wield sorcerous battle skills, and despite numbering fewer than 20, this power made them a match for even the champions of gold in battle. These enchanted knights were anointed by the Lunar Queen, a young astrologer who went on to establish the House of Carrier as royalty in this land. With her bewitching lunar magic, she won over the Academy of Raya Lucaria, where glintstone sorcery was studied, and united the Carrion royal family and the learned scholars of Raya Lucaria defended their home from the golden aggressors. At the head of this great golden army was Radagon.
Lord Radagon was a great champion.
Turtle Pup, I know, I love him. I want to go forward a little bit because I kind of feel like things went over my head a little bit here.
At the head of this great golden army was Radagon.
Okay, so Radagon was part of the Marika troop, right? But Radagon, if he's head of this troop, Golden Army, that means he's attacking. He's actually directly fighting against Renala. That's awkward. Isn't that a little awkward?
Lord Radagon was a great champion, possessed of flowing red locks. He came to these lands at the head of a great golden...
He has has the same hairstyle as my character. This is offensive. I don't appreciate this right now.
When he met Lady Renala in battle.
These two champions clashed, fell in love.
Oh, this was before. Okay, that's a little better. Wait a minute. That's complicated. So Radagon was basically like a general of like a Golden Order army. And he was fighting the Carians. And in the battlefield met Renala. And they fell in love.
And joined their houses.
Radagon once cleansed himself with celestial dew.
And he joined the party. He joined the Carrion party almost. Because he cleansed himself with celestial dew.
Repented his territorial aggressions and swore his love to Renala.
Okay.
The order of the Erdtree and the fate of the moon were conjoined.
Okay.
And all the wounds of war forgiven.
Nice.
You might think it strange that the Greater Will would permit this union, but it's not too odd, all things considered. As with most From Software games, sorcery and faith are just two sides of the same coin, and both of these powers stem from the cosmos. Radagon and Renala were known to have 3 children together. Lunar Princess Rani, who inherited her mother's propensity for lunar magic, Radahn, who took after his father Radagon and would go on to master gravitational magic, and Rykard, who pioneered new hex sorceries and would go on to feed himself
that's the
to a
snake
great
guy,
serpent.
right?
It followed.
I didn't know Rykard was a son of Renala. It's so interesting. Radagon, red hair. Renala is like blue. And they have 3 kids together. Rykard, Radagon. So they have 2 sons and Rani. Rani is blue and the other red. I don't know, just the color, the ways that they like use color to like represent stuff is really interesting together. Yeah, the together guy. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that Renala is his mom. What? They have such different vibes.
That at some point after this, Marika began to harbor doubts. Doubts about the Golden Order that she had had a hand in creating.
In Marika's own words, I declare mine intent to search the depths of the Golden Order.
For some reason, I thought that Radagon was Marika's husband though. It's not.
Of the proper way. Our faith, our grace is increased. Those blissful early days of blind belief are long past. My comrades, why must ye falter?
And it's at this point that we should talk about Marika's motivations, her character. This is surely going to be one of those huge points of debate in the coming years, but for now, my working theory is that she wanted to discover the truth behind.
Just wait, get to that later. Okay, then maybe then I do have it right in my head.
Order and the truth
Maybe
behind the
this
greater
is
will,
when
and
he
she believed that bonds had to be broken so that they could be better understood. She believed that there was great meaning to be.
Doesn't that sound like a homewrecker? Bonds have to be broken so they could be better understood. And then she just brings chaos to the family.
That's just Rani's puppet body, that's bluish. Rani's own original body. She had fair skin like Renala and red hair like Radagon.
Really?
Or so legends say.
So the legends say. Gotcha. That's true. I forgot that that's a doll.
So that they could be better understood. She believed that there was great meaning to be found in hardship.
Queen Marika has high hopes for us, that we continue to struggle unto eternity.
She hopes and she has confidence that we will continue to struggle. That doesn't sound very nice.
For Lord Godfrey, his struggle ended at the end of his campaigns. According to his armor, he led the war against the giants, faced the Storm Lord alone, and then there came a moment when his last worthy enemy fell. And it was then, as the story is told, that the hue of Lord Godfrey's eyes faded. In truth, he was robbed of his grace. Then Marika sent him away.
No.
My lord,
Marika! No! So he fought for her. And then he fought them all. And then once they were all destroyed, it's almost like he kind of like lost his purpose.
He was robbed of his grace.
And
The
then
hue,
he was sent away. In short words, divorced him.
when his last worthy enemy fell. And it was then, as the story is told, that the hue of Lord Godfrey's eyes faded. In truth, he was robbed of his grace. Then Marika sent him away.
What does robbed of grace mean? Because when I think grace, it's the grace sight. But it's not like every character was like given a grace sight. Like the save point. Marika took their grace from them. They can't see the gold dust anymore. Oh. Oh no. Marika's awful.
My lord, and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between. Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die.
This became known
It's really sad.
as the Long March of the Tarnished, as Godfrey and his tarnished descendants walked away from the lands between. But Queen Marika...
Wait. So, tarnished are descendants of Godfrey, who was casted away after he served his purpose for Queen Marika and had no use for her anymore. And then the grace was taken away from him, so therefore, they're not supposed to be able to see the grace dust. So the fact that your character in this game who's tarnished can see that is a special thing, right? They call you tarnished throughout the game because you're not supposed to be able to see the grace. But my character could. Not descendants, but warriors who were taking the grace... Wait, and sent away. Gaza.
absolutely had a plan here, that Lord Godfrey and his descendants would one day return stronger, having struggled outside of grace.
Then, after thy death, I will give back what I once claimed. Return to the lands between. Wage war.
Is that Queen Marika? The enemy I fought before the Elden Beast, was that Marika? Oh.
And brandish the Elden ring. Grow strong in the face of death. Warriors of my lord, Lord Godfrey.
Soon after, she found a new husband. Either that or a new husband was found for her.
When Godfrey, first Elden Lord, was hounded from the lands between, Radagon left Rennala to return to the Erdtree capital, becoming Queen Marika's second husband and...
So, when Radagon learned that Marika is free, he just left Rennala and walked in here. Is that what you're saying? And he like swore, he was like, no, I'm changed. I'm not all this, like, I'm not a changed man. Sprinkle me with the something dew. I'm new, I'm different. And then, brother, betrayal! This is upsetting. Rennala deserved better. Rani deserved a better dead.
and King Consort, taking the title of Second Elden Lord.
I hope Marika uses you up and just casts you away. Bleh.
The mystery endures to this day as to why Lord Radagon would cast Lady Rennala aside, and moreover, why a mere champion would be chosen for the seat of Elden Lord.
SMH. Bleh.
Whatever the case, as a part of this union, Radagon's prior 3 children with Rennala became demigod stepchildren, granted grace thanks to their new family tree. Rennala was broken by this.
And like Ronnie's like, thanks dad, but no thanks, I reject it. No, look at her. Looking at her from behind all hunched is so sad. Betrayal.
and so was her country, Leonia. The Queen's set reads, when Renala, head of both the Academy of Raya Lucaria and the Carian royal family, lost her husband Radagon, her heart went along with him. And then those at the Academy realized that Renala was no champion after all. In the wake of Radagon's betrayal and Renala's poor judgment, Leonia struggled with civil war, with the Academy of Raya Lucaria on one side and the Carian royals on the other. And it's here, during the age of the Erd Tree, that Lunar Princess Rani, daughter of Renala and Radagon, stole a fragment of the Rune of Death.
It happened during the golden age of the Erd Tree, long before the shattering of the Elden Ring. Someone stole a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith, the Black Blade.
Nice.
As mentioned previously,
Nice, Ronnie. That's how you avenge him.
Malekith was Marika's shadow, and he had sealed destined death in a black blade.
Rune Marika's
Then
plan.
a fragment, only a fragment, of this Rune of Death was stolen. And once this happened, Malekith went a step further in protecting destined death.
Oh.
He bound the blade within his own flesh,
God.
such that none might rob death ever again. It was too late, however. This fragment of the Rune of Death was used immediately, that night, to kill a demigod, Marika's own son, Godwyn the God.
That was the first recorded death of a demigod in all history,
Oh my gosh, I don't want to
and
see
it
this.
became the catalyst. Soon, the Elden Ring was smashed.
Oh my gosh. So Ronnie killed Marika's firstborn, basically. Dang. Ronnie's like, no one messes with my mom. Not directly, but she enabled it. Wait, what? No, I thought she used the fragment that she stole to kill him. Didn't she? Oh, she had him assassinated. I wonder if that was Blythe then who did it. I'm not... No, but this sucks for this guy. He didn't do anything. His mom messed up. His mom is awful. No, the Black Knight assassin Tish. What? Tish? My girl? I like Tish a lot. She had my Black Knight assassin kill him. Oh, kind of being explained now. Okay. Just keep watching. I'm gonna go forward a little bit and then watch smoothly.
Godwyn
I
the
don't
God.
like that scene.
That was the first recorded death of a demigod in all history, and it became the catalyst. Soon, the Elden Ring was smashed, and thus sprang forth the war known as the Shattering.
Now,
smashed the
there is a
Elden
lot
Ring?
of
Oh gosh,
really
why did it open his
evidence
eyes?
that Marika was behind this plot to have a fragment of the Rune of Death stolen.
What? It was part of Marika's plan. Wait, why? She didn't tell her dog that this was gonna happen? Cause like... He kinda like went crazy and like... merged himself to this thing. Everything he's saying about Marika is his speculation as he stated. Oh, okay, I missed that part. Gotcha.
There's also a ton of evidence that Marika is behind the entirety of your tarnished quest, but we'll talk about that in another video. For now, all you really need to know, in terms of the timeline at least, is this. After the marriage of Marika and Radagon, and after a fragment of the Rune of Death was stolen, Marika went on to shatter the Elden Ring, and Radagon attempted to repair it.
Why?
To no avail. The Elden Ring had been broken into runes, some great and some small.
Wait, is that Queen Marika? That's Queen Marika? She's the one smashing it. One thing that Vaati doesn't elaborate on this is that Rani also used the Rune of Death on herself at the time Godwyn was killed. She died in body, leaving her soul. Godwyn died in soul, leaving his body. That's Radagon for repairing. Oh, okay, he's trying to repair. Oh, it's like, no, my wife, she went
After
crazy
a
mode.
fragment of the Rune of Death was stolen, Marika went on to shatter the Elden Ring, and Radagon attempted to repair it.
Okay, so if that's Radagon, the enemy I fought before the Elden Beast is Radagon, not Marika. Those half-deaths had to happen at once because there can't be a half-death. There has to be a full death. So Rani cheated by killing Godwyn soul. Wait, why? I am so confused. Those half deaths had to happen at once because there can't be a half death. There has to be a full death. So Rani cheated by killing Goldwyn's soul while dying in body. Rani did not to completely cut herself off from the Golden Order. Like the part of Radagon? Exactly, you fought Radagon. Huh.
To no avail. The Elden Ring had been broken into runes, some great and some small.
You know, it's said that Lord Radagon harbored a secret. A famed sculptor of the Erdtree capital was once summoned to render Lord Radagon's likeness in giant stature, when he glimpsed the skeleton in Radagon's closet. And as such, it's said the great statue harbors his secret too.
Of course, the huge twist in Elden Ring is that Radagon is Marika, or depending on what you believe, he became her, for she knew it was going to happen.
In Marika's own words, O Radagon, leal hound of the Golden Order, thou art yet to become me. Thou art yet to become a god. Let us be shattered, both. Mine other self.
You can tell when From Software is keeping something a little bit open-ended, and of everything in Elden Ring's lore, this will also go on to be one of the biggest unknowns, as we...
So that's like, I fought Radagon, but kind of fought Marika too? That's crazy. Radagon is Marika. Huh. That was the only way for Rani to cast of her flesh without completely dying. Oh. Oh, gotcha. Then if Golden's soul had to die in the same time as Rani's body did, where did Golden go? Unless you're saying Golden's body's alive, just his soul. I don't know how that works. Crazy. That's why Rani's body is there at the tower. She cast her body out, but her soul lives in the doll. Gotcha. Radagon piloting Marika's body. Man, this family is complicated for real. Goldwyn is still alive as a soulless body. The mermaid body and Fia's... I like how you guys are calling it mermaid body because that's what I called it. Gotcha. That's crazy. So that thing was alive. That's why Melania and Michaela have birth defects with the scarlet rot and eternal youth. Why would that explain their scarlet rot thingy? Self-cast of... The self-cast? The self-cest? Ugh. If that's the thing... So that's a defect, birth defect. Oh.
We move forward. For example, the wording, thou art yet to become me, reinforces that Marika and Radagon were two separate entities before the shattering. However, in contrast, there is also evidence that Radagon was always part of Marika.
Always?
For example, Enya says that
The demigods are each and all the direct offspring of Queen Marika.
but how can this be if Radagon married Renala and had those demigod children? The only way that makes sense is if Radagon was always Marika and he just went over there to seduce Renala long ago.
Poor Renala. No, make love not war, as they say. No. Real love. Real one. Not a fake, calculated one. Dang, if that's true, that's crazy. And so... Radagon returned to himself almost. And then... self-says, which is a weird word. And then made kids. And that's the twins, right? I feel really bad for Renala. That's a crazy lore.
I'll present more concrete theories in the future, but on this matter,
But yeah, this is just a speculation, right? Speculation, but disregard the self-says thing. It doesn't explain. It will be explained later by the DLC gods.
most important thing is, what do you think? While you can figure out a ton of Elden Ring's story, not all of it is open to interpretation. Certain things are, and this is one of them. And your
Gotcha.
interpretation
This
is
is
a big part of
interpretation.
what makes this story special. At any rate, the union of Radagon and Marika seems to be a union of two fundamental opposing laws of the Golden Order. We mentioned these laws earlier, actually. There's the law of causality, and Marika is an agent of cause and effect. And there's the law of regression, as Radagon is a character who aspires to be complete and regress together. So I have a theory that forcing these two beings that represent these concepts together would have corrected Marika's deviance. But even so, she was imprisoned in the Erd Tree for the crime of the Shattering.
Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence. But even in shackles, she remains a god and the Vision's vessel.
The conjoined Radagon and Marika even had two demigod children of their own, Mikola and Millennia. These two children were born afflicted. Mikola was cursed with eternal childhood, and Millennia harbored a horrific rot within. Even so, these two children were both chosen as Empyreans. They were immensely sacred beings and eligible to inherit godhood from the Greater Will. Perhaps the Greater Will was just desperate to find a worthy successor, and indeed in the Shattering War to come, many would try to claim the shards of the Elden Ring, and they would try to take the throne, including, of course, the Tarnished, who returned from their long march at long last, which we'll talk about in the next main lore video. I should probably also mention here that if you become a patron, you'll see upcoming lore videos early, as that's one of the rewards you get if you pledge to the $3 tier. And if you think my channel really adds a lot of value to the Souls games for you to the point where you pledge $20, then in this new tier you'll receive a new mug every 3 months that has a unique design on it to do with the games by From Software. There are 4 to collect. The first one you'll get is inspired by Dark Souls, then Elden Ring, then Sekiro, and finally Bloodborne. And they all have fantastic art that I worked on with an amazing artist named Chu. But anyway, I figured this is the right place to end this video because the information here is going to be overwhelming. I bet it probably was too overwhelming, you know? It took me ages to commit these names and the relationships they had with other characters to memory, so I hope you guys are doing alright. One thing that helped me a lot was that we designed an enormous mind map with pretty much all of Elden Ring's lore, all of its item descriptions, all of its dialogues, all of the relationships between characters that we can think of. We added all of this together and it helped a ton in learning about the story. And
I wonder if anyone like got that and like actually read it, tried to understand. So that Vati left out who Melina. Yeah, he did. I was waiting. I'm like, who is Melina? Whose child is she? She wanted to burn the Erd Tree. And I feel like that's something Ranala's side kids or descendants would want to do. Oh, Melina in the DLC. Explanation on Melina. Would you then recommend I learn about Melina lore after I play some DLC? In the DLC? Okay, then yeah, I will just wait.
Realizing it all, and one day I will make this asset available to you all because I think after doing it, I think this is the quintessential way to piece together the story, and I think giving you guys this asset eventually will make that accessible for people. So I'm really excited about that. I want to thank Absa and Zard for accepting the paid task of helping me put all the raw data into this.
Imagine how much work went into making this video and that crazy tree
mind map so that I could better understand everything. I want to thank Paragod for fulfilling all of my footage requests and creating so many cinematic scenes for this video and for you all to enjoy.
Cool.
And I last of all,
how did they record it without all the extra like things that pop up on the side, the menu stuff?
I want to thank John Devlin for the incredible thumbnail, and of course, thank you for watching. There are some really exciting things ahead, and I actually believe this might be the best story that From Software have ever put together. I just think not only are there so many amazing item descriptions, but so many of them are impactful. There are so many moments where you piece together the story and have like a eureka moment, and I'm enjoying it so much. But now I'm gonna go and play the game a little bit because I've been editing this video for too long.
Like you have like a moment of enlightenment. There are free cam modes. Oh really?
So,
this was a great video. Respect. I don't know how he did it, but that was explained so well. Some parts of it did go over my head, beginning especially, but the whole like how like the characters are linked to each other, that was so interesting. Even though it could be just like a speculation, it's at least like somewhat grounded speculation. It was really good. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for watching this with me and helping me understand some bits of it that was going over my head. Yeah.